Hey everybody, this is Dark Side Ali here, and I've been awake for probably about an hour now, and this showed up on my YouTube in the last 30 minutes, and I wanted to actually go over this. Now, they talk about here the Birds of Prey was a doom from the start. Now, I want to thank Common Movie Marks for doing this video, and I know that Shane and Matt do not mind people utilizing their videos. I will do this and then get their okay for me to pop this, but I think they're not going to really mind. And I want to discuss this because I believe that they may have answered a lot of the questions I've had about this movie, and their reporting of the some of the things that were talked about is actually very eye-opening. And I will tell you guys what I think is going to be happening pretty soon. Now, also, um, I'm not on that bandwagon where I completely hated Birds of Prey and this and that. No, no, no. I'm saying that it was a pretty entertaining film. I felt that it was entertaining, that it captured me for the time that it was on, but I hated a lot of the things in there. I loved Margot Robbie as Black. I'm sorry, I love Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I loved Rosie Perez as Renee Montoya because that was Renee Montoya. She was a drinker. She drunk herself off the force plenty of times. I hated Black Canary. I hated the whole Black Canary nonsense. It made no sense to the character. Huntress was a joke. I'm sorry, Huntress was a joke. Cassandra Cain, what the hell was that? That was not Cassandra Cain. I don't want to get into it. I did a review of this. I will link that one below also into the description. On top of that, I will put this onto the as a link too, so you guys can go to their website if you haven't go to their YouTube if you haven't subscribed to them either. They are really cool guys. They do have their own personal opinions about things. Again, there's guys in the circle of Snyder Cut enthusiasts that I agree with, and there's some, and then even with them, there's some I disagree with them on, and they probably do the same thing with me and others, and that's perfectly fine. At least we could discuss it, and that's perfectly okay too. So I want to start this up, and let's get into this, and I'll give you guys my commentary throughout certain scenes. Okay, let's get into this.
Hello and welcome everyone to another Comic Movie Marks video.
Today we are visiting Birds of Prey and director Kathy Yan, reflecting on box office narratives, her ideas for the film or lack thereof, and potential future for maybe a loosey-goosey sequel?
Birds of Prey, a recent failure if you can kind of say. It made some of its budget back, but not a lot, and especially in the world we're in where comic book movies have to perform well and studios are expecting any form of comic book movie to perform well, Birds of Prey definitely did not. Well, through some articles, we see the
Okay, now they're right about that. The studios have seen that the casual audience member loves these comic book movies, hence why this is the great success of Marvel. They don't have to try. They could just give you plain movies that have great visual effects and it's okay. They talk a little bit about Captain Marvel and everything else, and again, I'm not going to make this into a rant about Marvel versus DC. I'm just letting you understand that there are certain aspects of comic movies that have such a plainness to it that people can see through it, especially comic book enthusiasts. And that's one of the big debates about, do you want it to have more accuracy or do you want more story? So, and I will look for that video before because I did one talking about the story versus accuracy, Dawn of the comic book movie. And that one I will link down below so you guys get my understanding and what I want out of the out of comic book movies. And let's look up the Birds of Prey uh, box office. Let's see what it made. Okay, now its budget was 84 and a half million dollars. Okay, so if you double it, that's around 170 million. But again, you're gonna have to quadruple it from the original budget. You have to do it times four. So this for this movie to be a pure success, this movie has to make over $350 million flat. It has to. Okay, for it to be a complete success. Well, right now, I think since it ended, yeah, since it's ended, it's only made $201 million. Um, now here's the thing. There's a lot of things about this. This movie came out February 7th. That was at the height of the whole coronavirus. All right, who knows what was going on in the other around the world at the time? It's been open for almost for 9 weeks now, and I can tell you right here and now that the movie didn't have a lot of people in there when I went, and then it had so much crap going on with it. So other than the fact that they changed the name of it to be Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. So they had to change. They changed the name to try to get people to so it's all about Harley Quinn, okay, and the Birds of Prey are secondary. No, they messed up. So again, I'll get into this a little bit later, but let's continue on with their video.
The failure that is Birds of Prey in some sense that it's not really a director's movie, it's a movie of ideas that was never established with any direction. Through some interviews and articles that we have here, we'll kind of piece this together and understand why Birds of Prey was such a letdown.
An article.
Okay, sorry for interrupting again. There are a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues with this movie. One, there were interviews in there. The direction was really piss poor. I think Kathy Yan was the worst type of director for this movie, and to have her just because she's a woman of color should illustrate to you, to a lot of you people, to understand that this is the reason why Marvel fails. If you really think about it, like Taika Waititi, okay, he did a couple of independent films, but the thing is that was he the right guy for Thor Ragnarok? Was he the right guy for Thor Ragnarok? Could he tell Thor Ragnarok the way it was supposed to be told? No, he couldn't. That's why they brought him in there and they put him under the House of Mouse and Kevin Feige, and they made him do a Joker story, basically, a joke story, and they turned it into a buddy film. That's not Thor Ragnarok. But if you look at, but they're gonna get into the whole fact that this is where the Hollywood media and the Hollywood elitists are at now. They want to forget the movies that came out before that made a good strong structure, only for what's good and what's the flavor of the month. And this is where we as the audience should start fighting back against them and say, hey, wait a minute, you had a success in Wonder Woman, and that was done by a woman, a white woman, not a woman of color, and it was a very successful film. It didn't make $1 billion, but at least it was a successful film. And also on top of that, you had a woman of color. She's Israeli. She's an Israeli woman who used to be a model, fought in the Israeli Defense Force. It has nothing to do with, oh, she didn't do nothing over there. It doesn't matter. She was a part of this. And that is a lot of credibility on Gal Gadot. I don't care how you personally feel about her as an individual. You can't take away her past. She used to be a supermodel. She used to be in the Israeli Defense Force. And she plays as the first female superhero in written comics. So, and that movie was very successful. So, whatever they say from this point forward about, well, we don't have women of color, Gal Gadot's a woman of color. She's not black, but she's Israeli, and that's a different color scheme than a white woman. I don't care if you say she's white. It doesn't matter. She has a different color scheme than a typical American white woman. Sorry. So you're telling me that a woman from Israel who's Israeli is the same as a white woman from America? No, she's not. She's different. So she is a woman of color, and this is one of her first biggest roles. Her first starring big role, and she basically knocked it out of the park. She did a damn good job. That's because she had a great director that knew the hell she was doing. Patty Jenkins did other films, did big films for Hollywood. Kathy Yan has not. Now, Shane pronounced her last name as Yan. I'll go, no, I think it's Yan. She's very independent. So, again, I'm going to let them finish, and there's a lot of things I want you all to take a bit from this, okay?
From The Hollywood Reporter earlier this month, titled Birds of Prey, director Kathy Yan reflects on box office narratives. And right off the bat, it starts out with few films are held to higher levels of box office scrutiny than comic book movies. This was doubly true for the rated R Birds of Prey, which stars Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, which helped propel the character to new levels of popularity. When Birds of Prey opened behind expectations to $33.3 million in early February, it was largely seen as a disappointment, despite earning strong reviews and having a budget of $82 million, a relatively modest figure for a comic book adaptation.
Okay. This is stupid. Okay, that shows this writer, and I'm not putting up his thing. I think that they have it on their description. So you guys, if you guys want to go look at it, read it, that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to give any more. I'm giving a lot on my descriptions. Now, here's the thing. $33 million for a movie that has Harley Quinn in it, and for a budget of $84 million, $33 million is not a bad haul on a weekend. What were they expecting? For it to break its budget? That's absurd. I rarely ever seen that. I haven't seen that many movies ever have that much of a budget and in one weekend try to break its budget. I have rarely seen that. BVS didn't even do that. Actually, let me see. I don't think BVS did that. Let me look that one up. Okay. Domestic open. $166 million. Budget $250. What? That's almost absurd. So Batman v Superman didn't even do that. Here, let's do this. Civil War. Budget $250. Domestic open $179. Okay. Let's look at an Infinity War. It never gave away its budget. But its domestic opening was 257. I think their budget was like 300 million. I think it was 300 million. Let me see if I can find the its budget was $316 million. Okay, let's look at Endgame. Okay, Endgame. Its budget was 356 million. Its domestic open was 357 million. So that's very interesting, and I think that they did that so they could show that no, that's domestic opening. So that means their weekend opening. That has nothing to do with their That has to be. Oh, hold on. Nope, 357. No, 357. Okay, 357. All right. So let me see Avatar. Yeah, its domestic. I mean, its budget was 237 million, but its domestic opening was 77. And people thought it was going to be a freaking a flop, and it made over almost $3 billion. So, like I said, it's very, very, very rare that most movies make their budget back in one opening, in one domestic opening. So for them to say that this is not a good sign, I go, wait a minute. I mean, 33 is not that bad. That's like about a fifth. That's close to a fifth of no, a third of their budget. That's about a third of their budget. So what are you talking about here? Um, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. So I think that the media is trying to really get us geared to, if it doesn't make its budget back in one weekend, it's a flop. No, what are you talking about? That is a very bad concept to think about. And again, I want people down below to really think about that. Why do they want us as audience members to really look at how much its box office is? So what? Were you entertained by the movie? Yes. Did you like the characters? Yes. Did you like this? Yes. Okay, then you got your money's worth out of it. Who the hell cares how much money it makes? Why should we as individuals care about how much money that this movie makes? We should be more caring about that they're listening to us and say, "Hey, we really like this movie. We really like this movie." That's what creates cult classics. Blade Runner is a cult classic. Despite if you believe it or not, it's a cult classic. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice is a cult classic. It has a massive cult following. Doesn't matter if it's Snyder Cut people or not. A lot of people still like the movie. It's a really good movie. So who cares what the box office is? And they've been ruling that over us for a long time. So let's get further into this.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
Joker was between 50 and 60, that's modest. Shazam was almost 90, and it had a lot more to it. The fact that Birds of Prey's budget was 82 million, and we got what we got for a rated R comic book movie, yeah, very modest. You can't tell the bias at all in Brian Davids, the guy with two first names. So obviously Kathy Yen was an independent filmmaker. She was brought onto Birds of Prey in kind of odd circumstances when you think about the fact that Margot Robbie was the focus of this movie, and this was essentially her idea. Kathy Yen was asked about the disappointment and the narratives that emerged from this movie, and she said, "I know that the studio had really high expectations for the movie, as we all did. There were also undue expectations on a female-led movie.
What?
And what I was most disappointed in was the idea that perhaps it proved that we weren't ready for this yet."
What?
So she's ignoring the fact that Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel did pretty fucking well. I know Captain Marvel shouldn't, so a lot of people forget about that it made $1 billion, because it sure in the hell shouldn't, because it was such a terrible movie. But Wonder Woman was an exceptional movie and made quite a bit of money. She continues, "That was an extra burden that, as a woman of color director, I would have never guessed." So yes, I think there were certainly different ways you could interpret the success or lack of success of the movie, and everyone has the right to do that, but I definitely do feel that everyone was pretty quick to jump on a certain angle.
Okay, so this is what Kathy Ann said at an interview, and that comment to me tells to me already she didn't know what the hell she was doing on this set. She didn't know what she was doing. It was, and again, I can get flamed. You guys can flame me all you want. You can give me some thumbs down for this video, but you got to look at it from that perspective. It seems to me that she was laughing and giggling with all the other girls and having fun on the set instead of her directing them where they need to do while having fun on the set. It just seems like they were just having fun and just it was like they were just doing a a walk around cam, and they were all just acting and having fun on the set. What the hell? I mean, listen, Ewan McGregor was on a rigorous set for Star Wars for episode 1 through 3, and he understood. I mean, despite if you feel how George Lucas did the film, at least Ewan McGregor understood that. He understood what it would be for a very important type of set of films. And if this movie shows to me that they were all just laughing and giggling, then it shows to me that Kathy Ann didn't know what the hell she was doing. She doesn't know what the hell she was doing. If you look at the set, I'm not going to throw Snyder in this. If you look at what was going on with James Wan and even with Patty Jenkins, they were still having fun with everyone on the set because Jason was throwing jokes, he was livening up the mood, and everyone else was having a lot of fun. But James Wan kept to the business. He wanted to tell his story and move forward. So was Patty Jenkins. You know, you had Chris Pine on there throwing jokes, having fun. All the other guys were throwing jokes, having fun. You know, Gal Gadot was having some fun, but she wanted to understand this business. She wanted to understand everything. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that Margot Robbie isn't serious about what she's doing, but what I'm saying is director's job is to tell the story that they need to tell, and utilizing the script as a blueprint point to get to from point A to point B. And it seems to me that they didn't even do that. They were just having fun on the set. And it wasn't taken very seriously. And I'm not saying that the movie need to be serious. I'm saying that they're not taking the movie serious. They're not showing that this movie needs to be up there at the same point as Wonder Woman. Patty Jenkins made sure that movie was taken seriously. This is Wonder Woman's first movie. This is Birds of Prey's first movie, and you turn it into a laughing stock. Kathy Ann was the worst person for this. They needed a director that had more experience. If you were going to give Kathy Ann any type of movie, you should have given her a movie with a more modest budget, less than the Joker. Give her a movie between 30 to 40 million and say, hey, go make us a movie. It's a drop in the hat to give her some experience and to get her into doing something. But then we got this crap. So, again, let's move forward.
You serious?
What angle? We follow this stuff for the most part. The only thing that was even remotely considered controversial going into the movie in any manner was some of the comments that Ewan McGregor made. Your movie was established for a certain audience. That certain audience went and saw it, and guess what? You found out that certain audience only makes up a very tiny part of the population. You have some comic book nerds, but you totally left those people out to the dust for your ideas of what you thought this movie should be.
So Mr. Davids continues with the interview. I'm curious about expectations versus reality. When you think back to your expectations of how this entire experience would go, what differences surprised you the most in retrospect? Kathy?
Okay, Matt hit it on the nail. He hit it right there. She came in thinking like, okay, we're going to make this movie for all the women that feels like that they don't. No. You effed this up already. You completely effed this up. She never sat down and read a Birds of Prey comic. Never. Margot Robbie read a little bit. And she's like, wow. And she's gonna get into this, and they're going to get into this too. None of these people sat down and read a Birds of Prey comic. None of them did. And that's sad. That is sad. Listen, again, I'm not bringing Snyder into this. You go and go to Wonder Woman. Patty Jenkins read Wonder Woman comics. That's why she had an understanding of who Wonder Woman is. Now, I did a video about what I have an interpretation of Wonder Woman. I think she should be a warrior. She should be a much more vicious version of Xena, the warrior princess, because that's who they built the character off of. She's built off of Wonder Woman. So That's how I feel that Wonder Woman should be sometimes. She should be vicious. And I don't want to get into that. But if I was a director and I have all these cast members, the first thing I would do is get them comic books and say, here, read these comic books before you read the script. Read these comics. Get them interested in comics. They go, yeah, I read a few comics when I was little. How about now? Have you read comics now? Well, I don't got no time for all that. I will make time. Read the comics. Ben Affleck is a huge Batman fan. Henry Cavill understands who Superman is. He's probably read a few, but he started reading more. He understands. Gal Gadot probably did it too. Jason Momoa understands who Aquaman is. He's not stupid. He probably read a few. All these actors read the comics, but they have a good understanding of who the characters are. These actors had no understanding who these characters are. Julie Smollett-Bell did not know who the hell Black Canary is. She just read the script and went, wow, this seems really cool, and she seems like she's badass, and just went in and did it anyway. I don't think this woman knew who the hell Black Canary was. Black Canary is a tomboy. She's a tomboy. She's rough and tumble. She will rough and tumble with any dude. It doesn't matter to her. But she's also sensitive. She still wants to be a woman. And Ollie treats her that way. He treats her like a princess. Actually treats her like a queen. No pun intended. And it seems to me, again, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I don't think she read any comments about who Huntress is. Huntress is not like that at all. So to me, they never sat down and read any of the comics. None of them, to understand what's going on. I'll give it up for Benedict Cumberbatch. The dude sat and read Doctor Strange comics. He sat and read a whole bunch of Doctor Strange comics, so he gets down his mannerisms. Who is this guy? And he exceeded. I knew right off the bat when they said that Benedict Cumberbatch was playing Doctor Strange. I was like, that's the best casting they got. That is the greatest casting right there. That dude will read Doctor Strange comics, and he did. The late John Schnepp even said it. He says, no, that guy's going to sit there and read Doctor Strange comics to understand who this character is, and that's what he did. Oh, God. That's what I would do as a director. That's what I want as DC does this. Any cast members they bring into playing these characters, you throw a freaking comic book in front of their faces and say, read these comics, understand who the hell you're playing as. I don't want people coming in and saying, hey, this is so cool, and they just read the script and they don't have no concept of who the character is. It is not a problem for you to say, hey, wait a minute, this is not how the character is. Can I kind of put some... Most directors be like, let's... That's the whole point of you doing the interview. You came in and said, hey, you know what? I read the script already. I don't like this. And you come in with the attitude of who the character was in the comics, and I guarantee you the director will go, hey, that's actually pretty cool. Most directors will see that as, oh, that's massive initiative. You read the comics. Don't come in here and just say, I am a thespian, I'm an actor, and I'm going to do... What? And then you're going to get comic book guys, you're going to come in and go, what the hell is this? That's not how the character is supposed to be. So again, we're going to see. But this right here, what she said in after this is mind-blowing.
The answers, I guess it's hard to answer that question because I'm not really sure what I expected. What was definitely beyond expectations was some of the positive stuff, such as the real global reach of the film and getting really wonderful notes from people around the world who felt they were seen for the first time in a movie like this. They felt like they could identify with the characters on screen even though they were in a heightened world, a world with stocked grocery stores, laughs. It was still a world that was very aspirational. A lot of people, especially a lot of women and younger people, really felt like their voices, their type of people, they themselves were represented for the first time on the big screen. Again, ignoring anything that came before this. When we first set off to make the movie, making some of those choices, whether it's in casting or even the way the characters look or dress, was somewhat deliberate. But I didn't really think about the global impact of those decisions, so that was really nice.
What younger people are you talking about? Because your movie was rated R unnecessarily. It was written for teenagers and younger women, but they couldn't go see it because you had it rated R because you wanted to throw a couple fucks in there. When you think about this and you think about the people that would actually take the time to give you these notes, this is a very finite amount of people. Your movie is directed towards a very small amount of individuals. And as Shane said, a lot of this has already been done. You're not breaking ground at all here with your movie.
It's great to have people of different backgrounds, different ethnicities represented on a film. That should not be the intent of the film. You have the core of the film, especially as Matt mentioned, this movie could have benefited from being PG-13. You bring in the comic book audience and maybe some of their kids, and then you show this group of women, powerful women on screen, more or less the background of the actual movie that you're trying to deliver. But that was the main focus, is to have these women on screen and kind of come together, and it lacked everything else. And you really kind of forgot about who your movie should have been intended for.
When you look back,
sorry to break that up again. Yeah, that's what they did. They forgot who they made this movie for. They did. They forgot who they made this movie for. Her whole freaking speech was about that. Yeah, we made it for the young ladies and the young people so they could feel like they're being represented in their herd. No. How? You said this movie is rated R. You really think anyone under the age of 16 is going to watch this movie? No, they're not going to. You made the movie rated R, so you already nipped a good chunk of this movie in the bud. I'm sorry, nipped a good chunk of your audience in the bud. They couldn't go watch this movie. So what are you talking about here? Someone needs to take what she just said and throw her back in her face. What are you talking about here? Because you made the movie rated R, so what young people are you talking about? Under the age of 18? Okay. But what do you mean by that? Under the age of 16 now. Because that's who can't watch this movie. You didn't put any nudity in there. It's just violence and a little bit of gore and anything they've seen on television and a few more cuss words. Okay. You could have cut down the cuss words and this would have been a hard PG-13. Enough for a 12-year-old to come and look at it. That would have made this movie that would have made this movie make way more money. So I don't know what the heck Cathy Yan is saying here. I don't know. I think that, again, she doesn't know what the heck she's doing. She doesn't. It's mind-boggling. It really is. It's very mind-boggling. So let's finish this up.
at Todd Phillips and what he thought about the Joker. When he was talking about the Joker, pajamas and other things like that, those weren't part of the movie.
We had a really hard time getting that film made, which seems insane today, now seeing how well the movie's done. We spent a year at Warner Brothers, and I saw emails back and forth, literally where they said, does he realize, meaning me, does he realize we sell Joker pajamas at Target? And so
is that true?
It's very what you're saying. Where doesn't the movies come first, the pajamas come second? Like, are the pajamas dictating the movies?
No.
You can't make your decisions based on that, and that was my argument, of course, was we're really going to dictate, movies based on pajamas.
The storytelling aspect.
Right there. Right there. Listen to what he just said. He just talked to studio execs. Now remember, Todd Phillips had this movie was made around the same time as when they were doing the huge shakeups over at DC. The huge shakeups at DC. He said they were there for over a year. This was probably back in 2019. So it was 2018. So in 2018, what was going on at that time? There's a lot of shakeups, a huge amount of shakeups. So think about that for a second. They're telling this guy, this director, that do you know that we have Joker pajamas being sold at Target? And if look at the video, Martin Scorsese was there. He went there with, yep. He knows that. He knows that this was studios think about. Like, oh, they got to think about the merchandise. F the merchandise. Let's make the movie. You'll sell more merchandise when people look at this movie. They'll be like, wow, I want Joker pajamas. Or I want Joker stuff. You'll make more merchandise from this movie. It's ludicrous. And this movie made over $1 billion off of $50 million, and it made over $1 billion. That is dumb. And that's because he took care of the story. Story does make a lot of sense. Oh my God. Now again, Hawk has a few things about the Joker movie, and I agree with him. I agree with him on some of it, but we both still said the movie was phenomenal. It was a great movie. They did a really great job with it, and Hawk wants Joaquin to be the Joker for even against Batman. I go, nah, I don't see it. I don't see his Joker going against Batman unless you're gonna make him very cartoony, or he's not as badass as he's supposed to be. Because I don't see Arthur Fleck battling him. I see him causing too much mayhem, and Joker having an army, and that's kind of strange. Joker usually like to take care of the stuff himself, but I mean, it's just one of those things. So, right there, this is the reasoning why. Right there is the reasoning why the Snyder Cut got freaking buried. Because they don't want to destroy what they're already building. And one of the bigger things is, if you really think about it, one of the bigger things is for them is the merchandise. They want to sell more merchandise, and they're allowing the merchandise sales to dictate them what movies to make. And that, if you think about it, is what Disney does. Disney wants to keep it family, quote unquote, family friendly, and they want to make buco money off of the merchandise. They believe they make more money off the merchandise than they do anything else. And if a director comes in and doesn't go what Disney wants, they go, nah, that doesn't work the way we want to. Hence why we get the jokes. Hence why we get what Disney does every single time Marvel does their movies. Laugh fests. That's why I have little regard about the fact when they say, well, we're going to get a different film. No, we're not. We're not. It's gonna have jokes in there that makes no sense. Character assassinations that make absolutely no sense for anything, and killing off a villain that was actually pretty cool to build the whole thing up. And yep, get rid of the villain. Who cares? We got a plethora of other villains.
Of the movie is what came first for Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix, and that's why it broke $1 billion and won many awards, because they took the story first and not these ideas that only so many people really give a shit about. And when you talk about good story, you have another moment here where Mr. Two First Names says, when I talked to Christina Hudson, I was surprised to learn that she and Robbie had been working on a version of the film since 2015. When you first teamed up with them, did you feel like you were playing catch up in a way since they already had 3 years of rapport and whatnot? She laughs and says yes, no, but this is the thing. This was a pet project by Margot Robbie. Your director comes aboard 3 years later, and this is what happens. The movie comes out to feel like there's lack of direction and just ideas thrown together in a pot.
David's even asked, did the studio have any requests for you as far as the DC Extended Universe is concerned? Did they encourage some connectedness, which you ultimately fulfilled by honoring the events of Suicide Squad more than most people probably expected? And her response, she says yes and no. They were pretty supportive and hands-off in terms of that specific thing of having it connect to this film, the next film, or anything like that. We paid homage where we felt it was appropriate, and such a cheeky, irreverent movie that breaks the fourth wall. The studio doesn't really care if you have it connected to anything, so just make your damn movie. At the same time, this is a pet project for Margot Robbie, so yes, it needs to have these characters in it, but it doesn't need to have these. So again, lack of direction. Even the studio's like, yeah, whatever, we don't care if it's connected or not.
And this comes back to the fact that they try to disconnect themselves so much from Suicide Squad and that connective universe. Again, lack of direction at WB and DC about how these movies are presented. The incompetence when it comes to WB and DC, it just keeps showing more and more. Recently, David Ayer even said in a response to somebody saying, yo, David, Birds of Prey will make $500 million less than Suicide Squad. He says, look, a lot of people created distance from Squad and it hurt, but this is a business, not a hug box. It's a business. I'm an easy target, keep shooting.
In a world where Warner Brothers wishes Jared Leto never existed. In fact, where all of Suicide Squad was a lie. Forget it ever happened.
This is what makes you be concerned a little bit for the future of the DC extended universe, or whatever you want to call it, the DC universe, when the studio has no
Worlds of DC.
yeah, I guess. When the studio has no direction for a movie, and as much as I enjoy Margot Robbie's take on Harley Quinn, they're still allowing her to pretty much say, yeah, this is how the direction you can take our films, and we don't really care if it's connected to anything or not. But yet, in this interview, Davids asked Kathy Yan about the scene in the club where Roman stops to demean and humiliate a woman by the name of Erica. She says,
Okay. Wow. I'm still very, very, very upset over that. This is one of those times where the studio needed to get involved, especially when it seems like, what the heck are they watching? This is where they kind of just went, good thing we made this for under $100 million. So this was their movie, because there's no way this would have gotten passed. I guarantee you, because there's no way any of them would have made this movie get passed. I think that it was mainly the fact is they did not want another stink. They didn't want to hear. They did not want the whole. They did not want us as fans to hear that they are getting themselves involved in the film, that there's problems on the film. They don't want to hear that. They're just like, let's just make the movie. Let's just pass it through. Let's pass it through. And we got this. Because I've been when I watched this, I literally went, this makes absolute sense. This makes absolute sense when he said that they were very hands off. So that shows to me I felt that them being hands off is a good thing, but I feel that they looked at this and went, oh my God. They were like scratching their heads going, wow, this is not going to do very well. So they kind of wrote it off as okay, this is an experiment. But because the Joker was close to $800 million, they're like, we don't care. We could drop a bucket in a hat on this. And then, there's a couple of movies going to be coming out pretty soon. So they were just kind of writing this one off. But, wow. And again, they're right. There was no true direction. They did not have a director there that knew exactly what they were doing and knew what they wanted to do. They did not take command and charge of everything going there. They just felt like this is a willy-nilly movie. Let's just have fun. And, no. You still got to take the job seriously. And I don't think she took the job very seriously. I think she was kind of laid back on it. I'm not saying she did a bad job. But what I'm saying is that she didn't take the whole situation seriously and get everybody on board to make this movie better than what it was. I think they were very haphazard, and that's bad.
we had to fight to keep that scene because it was uncomfortable. It was risky. We had to fight to keep it at all. There are cuts of the movie even without it.
So to summarize, DC didn't want their rated R movie to be uncomfortable. One last thing I want to throw out from this Hollywood Reporter thing is Mr. Brian David's Captain 2 first name. I said this to Hudson, but it bears repeating. Thank you for leaving Joker out of this movie. I also really appreciate the street level stakes, specifically the lack of sky beams and portals.
So what he wanted the stakes to be very low and the movie to be very casual. What? So that's why Roman Sionis was a joke. Roman Sionis is trying to gain the favor of all of Gotham. That is a pretty high stake in a city. He's trying to become a mob kingpin. But they made him such a comedy routine and so lowbrow that no one gave two craps about him that who cares? That's why they killed him. They were like, hey, let's kill him. Wow. Again, it shows wow. And if Hodgson is the one that wrote that, then wow. Wow.
And she laughs. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So take out any commercial viability in your movie. Eliminate any real stakes at all. Thank you for doing that, Miss Kathy Yen.
A lot of people ask why. Why treat the customer this way? Why? Because fuck them, that's why.
Margot Robbie actually explains how Birds of Prey was conceptualized from the start. And again, it becomes lack of actual passion and just like, oh, look at this. My toy box has some new stuff in it, and now I want to play with these toys instead.
Robbie says,
okay, this is gonna be one of my last ones. This right here, it made me kind of go, oh wow. Now here's the thing. I'm not that about what she's saying, because if you look at it, David Ayer understood that. He understands, okay, they're all going to be happy and excited. They want to play these characters and this and that and this and that. But his job is to rein them in and keep them focused on the job. Robbie was the exec. She's the producer of the movie. Her production company's involved in this. But the director is above them. She is above them. And she gave no craps. They were just all having fun on the set. And that to me shows that they did not have any level of respect for these characters. They just felt like, oh, they're just comic book characters. We're just here to do a job. Who the heck cares? What? That shows in your work. And if you don't care about the work you're doing, we're going to get crap. And this is what it is. This is what we got out of this. I'm not faulting Margot Robbie. She does have a lot of fans for the Harley. She does love the character, and she's now getting herself into this whole situation with the DC characters. But the thing is that the director themselves is the one that you need to truly blame, because this was her vision, her direction. And just because Margot Robbie says this does not mean that you want to basically fault everything. I will put partial blame on Margot because she was a producer and she does have a little bit of the say, and also because she's so popular over at the WBDC live action as the character, she does get a little bit more of the push and a little bit more of the pull, and DC is gonna basically kind of bend over and take it up the butt, and they sure as heck did it with this movie. This should have not have made $200 million. This movie should have made around between $500 to $600 million. Easy. This is Birds of Prey. This is the Bat Family, basically. This is the Bat Family team. A Bat Family team. Wow.
during Suicide Squad, when we go to Comic-Con and such, I started to realize there was just a huge fan base for Harley. Whilst I was researching the character, I started to read Birds of Prey, and first I fell in love with Huntress, and I started looking into all of that. I was like, wow, there's so many cool female DC characters, and no one knows anything about them. So what if we had a platform for fans to get to know and fall in love with some of these other amazing women? Focusing on the Gotham City Sirens, there were only 3 of us, and we were all well known, whereas Birds of Prey, you can pick any grouping for that, and I thought that might be the perfect platform to introduce some female characters who might really have some legs in the DC universe.
Birds of Prey director Kathy Yen has plans for a sequel exploring Harley Quinn's relationship with Poison Ivy and Catwoman, basically going back to the Gotham City Sirens. So now they're gonna go back to what David Ayers originally proposed was a Gotham City Sirens movie. Does Birds of Prey even deserve a sequel?
No. Let me take you a little bit back in time. Imagine a world where David Ayers' actual cut of Suicide Squad gets released and you have the Joker, who is the main villain in that. Fast forward to 2020 and you have Gotham City Sirens released, and possibly the emancipation a little bit of Harley Quinn, where you have Harley Quinn and Catwoman and Poison Ivy, and maybe your villain could be, I don't know, Jared Leto's Joker, still connecting the universe and having well-known, great villains and characters, and most likely a fantastic movie. I would definitely pay to see that. Then you can kind of branch off and have a whole slew of movies afterwards. If you want to have a Birds of Prey after that, sure, but you have to establish some of these characters. You have to understand who your target audience is and start with that first. We have committed our lives to loving the DC characters, and you are just shitting all over this universe and not caring of what direction it goes to, and now you're trying to pretty much ignore that Birds of Prey even existed. And oh, just kidding, look, we're gonna give you Poison Ivy and Catwoman and Harley Quinn. Look, it's gonna be awesome.
Whoop-de-doo! So I guess we leave this to you in the comments. Does Birds of Prey deserve a sequel? Even if you did like it, do you really think it even deserves a sequel at this point? If I was anybody at DC and Warner Brothers, I would say fuck that. If you like what you guys heard, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that stupid little bell, because apparently that little bell is way important.
Okay, they just pretty much did their outro, okay? So, yeah, this seems like this movie was a disaster from the very beginning. I feel very sorry for a lot of these women on this set. I feel sorry for Della Basco, the little girl who plays as pseudo Cassandra Cain. This was her first breakout movie. I feel very sorry for Rosie Perez. She did a damn good job with Renee Montoya. And I might make a video about how I would have done the whole emancipation of one Harley Quinn, the whole thing going from Mad Love all the way to Gotham City Sirens, and you would have gotten a good, stronger universe that way, and it would have still coincided into its own universe, but you would have moved slowly away from Snyder, and also you didn't have to have Batman. You would have had to explain about Batman and what's going on, but at least it would have been a little bit more concise. I'm very sorry this one's been very long, but this needs to be discussed. This was terrible. Again, the movie is entertaining. I still was entertained by the movie. I love Margot as Harley, and from her comments, she just is very excited about being a part of the DC universe with all these cool female characters that are all over the place that DC has built from the ground floor up. There's still a lot of women that were a part of the Birds of Prey and a lot of the women that were villains, and the casual audience doesn't know nothing about them. And that's more on DC's fault, because they have not stood up to the fact of stop changing the race of characters and just introduced other women of color. Like, where's Vixen? Where's Bumblebee? Where's Rocket? Where's Thunder and Lightning? Where's Katana? Where's Jinx? You know, there's a lot of women of color, and Cassandra Cain and Lady Shiva. Where are these women that are there, but they're being hidden because you're changing the race of other characters and really miscasting certain people. Like, again, Mary Elizabeth Winstead would have been phenomenal as Barbara Gordon. She'd have been great. She has a soft face. She has that girl next door look. She's beautiful. She'd have been perfect as Barbara Gordon. Perfect. You'd have gotten an Italian American woman that could speak the language and literally would look badass, and made her the new Huntress. You could have gotten an older woman, probably in her, I will say her 40s, her early to mid 40s, around the same age as Ben Affleck, not Bruce Wayne, but Ben Affleck, and that would have been Black Canary. That would have been Dinah Laurel Lance. You could have introduced Gillette Smollett-Bell as, I don't know, Vixen. She could have been Vixen. She could have been Mari. What was wrong with that? Why? She's wearing yellow all the time. Her hair is all messed up. She's supposed to look like she's a fashion designer. She's gonna look a little weird in the way she dresses. Black Canary dresses very provocatively. I'm sorry, she unprovocatively. She doesn't dress to make herself look sexy. She dresses because it's functional and she can kick somebody's ass. And they ruined her character. If you think the CW ruined Katie Cassidy as the Black Canary, they ruined her in this movie. They ruined Dinah Laurel Lance in this movie. Terribly. Bad representation. I don't care. They ruined it. They could introduce Vixen. They could introduce her as Bumblebee. I would have said Vixen would have made more sense. And not have her have the powers. Like, every time she touches her totem, and she does something very athletically. Like, she just does something, and all of a sudden she's doing things massively athletic. She's able to grab guys and toss them all over the place. You put in the whole thing of, does she have her powers, or is it just the fact that she's just that badass of a martial artist? Who knows? But that doesn't have to be the main focus of the film. It's just giving you an understanding, like, hey, there's something bigger going on there. Huntress, her story should be in this movie. Oh my God. It was terrible. The story was terrible. I love Rosie Perez as Renee Montoya. She did her homework. She understood what the hell was going on. And man, this movie needs to be rebooted. And I will tell you, and I will give you a video. I will definitely do a video on how I would have introduced and done the whole Harley Quinn storyline with the Joker, to her leaving the Joker and her getting on her own, and where to go with that. It'd have been better, a whole lot better, and it made a lot more sense. So like I said before, like, comment, share, subscribe down below, hit the bell, and I will do another video pretty soon. I had one gentleman ask me about a video about the Reverse Flash, but I kind of want to get this one done. This is because this was truly doomed from the start. Kathy Yan was a terrible director for this, and honestly, this should give us very scared about Ava DuVernay doing the New Gods, and I think that she's not doing it. I think she's not doing it at all. We're getting nothing from it, nothing from that movie. Because I have a feeling that they attached her to a project and they said, well, we're going to do the New Gods. And they're sitting there telling her, no, you're not doing the New Gods. She hasn't said a word. She's probably just saying, yeah, I'm still doing it. Yeah, I'm still doing it. Yeah, I'm still doing it. Just to play the corporate line. But she's not going to do the New Gods. I would put Ava DuVernay on Black Lightning. Icon would be great. Give her Icon. That would make a lot more sense. He comes from, the guy's been around since slavery days. Icon would be perfect for her to do Icon. Done. She could do it. Great. Be beautiful. So like I said, I will do that video pretty soon about Harley and what I would do with her character, and I hope you guys watch it. Thank you for watching. You have a great one. Bye.